Nursing versus social work. Which one should you come and do in the UK in 2025, maybe 2026? Hello guys, welcome to Akomolafe family channel. So today I'm just discussing nursing versus social work. Which one should you come and do in the UK in 2025, maybe 2026? So nursing, somebody actually asked me to do this video, so I think it will be helpful for those who are looking to JAPA from Nigeria. So nursing is a very interesting course, and I think it gives you a lot more opportunities in the sense that people who come to UK to train as nurses can migrate to other parts of the world to work. I know a lot of people are going to America, Canada, Arab countries as well to work, and they said they make a lot more money. And the UK as well, you know, so people finish and just stay in the UK and then they work. So nursing is generally nice, gives you more opportunities, gives you opportunities as well for extra work, like extra shift, long hours. You can work longer days and make more money as a nurse. So those are the pros I'm talking about there. You can work across different fields, in the hospital, in the care homes, as a mental health nurse, maybe in a mental health hospital. You can work in special needs homes. You know, there are different places where you can work as a nurse. So I think nursing gives you a lot more opportunity. And I know that people come from Nigeria to do either the first degree, which is the BSc, or they do the master's, which is the MSc. So the master's is usually for people who already have a first degree, and then the BSc is for people who didn't have any degree before, or maybe the grade that they graduated with is not acceptable. Then they are expected to go back and, you know, redo. They won't accept your grade if it's too low. So having said that, those are some of the pros of nursing that I've just mentioned. Let me mention some cons. Coming from somebody who has done the two, so I've not really practiced post-qualifying, but I mean, just like anybody else, once you have your clinical placement on the wards, you can easily tell what happens there. Yeah, so the cons, some of the cons about nursing that I have found is the long hours. Being on your feet for long hours. You're working typically 8 to 8, but then you are already on the ward from 7 in some cases, or 7:30, because you have to do handover. So you're going to be on your feet for a very, very long time. I'm telling you this information firsthand because I have a family member who came from Nigeria to do BSc nursing and has just qualified and is working on one of the complex wards. So I'm giving you firsthand information of somebody who is a close family member. Aside from the long hours that your legs are killing, you are extremely tired. Some wards are so complex that you hardly get your breaks. So ideally you should have 30-minute breaks, maybe twice before the end of your shift. Some people will even give 3 times. But most of the time, nurses I found don't end up going on the breaks. You know, they get so busy that the break time passes. And I've heard that they even sometimes they pay it. So they add those hours back to their work hours and then they pay. But I don't think money should substitute for your breaks, because my family member has told me that sometimes she doesn't eat breakfast till 6 o'clock in the evening. And she's not the only one. Obviously, I have colleagues, people who I graduated with that are already working. We talk from time to time. And, you know, they say the same thing, like, it's so busy. That's the same thing everybody's saying. There are all days when, you know, they'll be able to, you know, have their breaks. But most of the time, the break is a fight. It's a struggle to get. Yeah, so that's another downside for me. Another downside I would say is I don't think it's ideal for somebody who has very little children. So if you have tiny children, you make sure that you have the support around your family dynamics before you undertake such journey. I have a friend who she lives in the US and she's training to become a nurse. She has her mom living with her. So, you know, that kind of mitigates against any risk. Because nothing is a very intense program that you need to be informed. You need to be focused at all times, even as a student, because they are assessing all the things you're doing. You're being assessed. So if you are putting patients at risk, they will be failing you So if you don't pass your clinical placements, you cannot qualify as a nurse. I would say, if you have little children, think about that before you embark on that journey, because you need your support to look after your kids so that you can focus on the program that you are coming to do. It's not easy. It's not a joke. Those are the major cons. Then I found that, but I wouldn't say this is particular to nursing alone. I think a lot of, because I experience that too sometimes in social work. I think most professional jobs, like when your life kind of, I would say when your life is in the hands of your manager. I don't know how to word that, but that's the easiest way I can phrase that would make sense to even me. When your life is practically in the hands of your manager. Because sometimes you are needing time off, you are very exhausted, you have annual leave, and you are needing time off, and you are requesting for the annual leave, and they will tell you, I'm sorry, we are short-staffed, so you cannot have that time off. Oh, I'm sorry, suppose this person is off on that day, and you can see that you are clearly breaking down, you need that, and it's your entitled annual leave, yet you still have to beg before you get it. I hate that so much. And that's what I mean by your life being in the hands of your manager. See, nursing, mistakes are bound to happen. You just have to be very, very careful. So if you do certain things that they should even support you with, and they will escalate it very quickly if you don't have a good relationship with your manager. So anything they're supposed to kind of play down and support you with, they will escalate it, and small thing can become very big. Nursing as well, another downside is it's not a profession where you say, oh, I'm not feeling well, I'm so weak, I'm so tired, and you manage and go to work. The reason why this is a major risk is because you are dealing with human lives. So if you are not in your full form, if you are not in your right frame of mind, if you are not clinically okay, that's why they keep doing clinical checks. They keep doing occupational health. We keep doing checks for you to make sure that your health is okay and you are fit to practice. If you are not fit to practice, you cannot manage in that kind of profession. You say you want to go and be managing, and let me manage. Some people will be so tired and they will keep pushing it until they make a grievous mistake that will ruin their lives. We've had so many errors when nurses make mistakes that lead to them losing their patients. So it's not a joke. It's not you don't say, oh, because of money, I need extra shift. Because of money, then you go and make a mistake that will ruin your life. So those are the major challenges. So now let me compare that with social work. Social work is, I find the course very interesting actually. I did a master's in social work as well. So both of the courses I'm talking about, I did masters in them. So social work as well too was a 2-year program. So as opposed to going to a clinical environment, which is a hospital in the case of a nurse, in the case of a social worker, you are going to do your placements within the local authority. What do I mean by local authority? For those who don't live in the UK, it is quite similar to your local council in Nigeria. Like your local council, whatever country, I'm not sure you have your local government council. That's the same thing as a local authority. So you are basically working directly with the local authority, which is technically working with the government. And what you'll be doing is to be providing support, providing services for the people of your local area to support them in basically in their everyday, living life, basically in their everyday activities. So you are caring for people who are less privileged, people who need care and support, like people who can get up and do the things that you and I can do for ourselves. You are providing support for them to make sure that they are comfortable in their own environment and they're able to be as independent as you and I are. And then you are supporting even people who are, single parents, people who have issues with their kids, different things. Social work is just, as the name indicates, social. Anything that has to do with social activities that people are struggling with, be it families, be it health, be it provision of services, going to a care home. Generally, that's what we do. So the placements will be with the local authority. Whilst you study, they will send you there, and then you will undertake tasks that will train you for the job that you're about to go into. Social work equals paperwork. Let me just put it that way, plain and simple. Nursing, I was surprised to find paperwork in nursing, but the way that nurses word their because where I work now, I still work with nurses. I work with the MDT, so I work with nurses, physios, OTs, doctors, name it. I work with everybody. So nurses too, there's a way they coin their words that is like bullet point kind of thing. It's just patient okay, that kind of thing. But as a social worker, you have to be expressive. You have to provide more information. You have to be able to write. If you are coming to social work, you have to have flair for writing. If you are not writing well, you will struggle in social work. So don't even come to social work, just go towards nursing. If you don't like socializing with people, in fact, I had to conquer a lot of fears. I used to hate talking to people. I used to hate socializing. When I left Nigeria 15 years ago, I would tell myself as being extremely antisocial. Whereas now, I am speaking with everybody. You know, I am even doing a YouTube. Can you imagine? Who would have thought that many years ago? Yeah, so I think social work has helped me personally to build my confidence in speaking to people, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, I just look at them and say, now, don't get too head now. If I talk, we could talk. So I would just go there and just say what I have to say, as long as I'm equipped with knowledge of what I want to talk about. The only time I would be afraid to speak to families, speak to people is, you know, when I'm not equipped about, I'm not knowledgeable about the subject area. But once I know what I'm talking about, because you are providing services. So, say for example, you are providing services to this particular person. You are speaking to their husband, you are speaking to the wife, you are speaking to the sons, you are speaking to the daughters. So you are speaking to the entire family. And believe me, some of their family members, some of them are working professionals as well. So you have to be, as a social worker, you have to be in your A game all the time. You are a lone worker most of the time, in the sense that they expect you to make decision independently and also as part of a team. So you are carrying a caseload of patients. Oh, in my own case is patients, but caseload of social service users. You are carrying a caseload of service users. You are working with them for a period of time as to when you settle them down and then you move them on before you get. So sometimes you can be holding cases for quite a long time. In my own case, because I don't work in the community, I work in the hospital, I don't hold cases for that long. I just hold cases for a short period of time because there's always pressure to get people out of hospital. So it's a touch and go case that I do. But generally, social workers hold cases for a while. They work with families, some more complex than some. So if you are going into children's services more complex than adult services, in my opinion. Some people are doing children's services and they are absolutely fine with it. They are enjoying it. But in my opinion, I feel like adult services is a little bit easier. And because I don't like driving too much, I'm a lazy driver, very lazy. So I prefer to work in a hospital. I still go from hospital to hospital, and sometimes to go into the community. Maybe if there's a safeguarding concern, I'll go into the community. But that's about the driving I do. We don't really go to people's homes. We don't drive from here to there, to there, to there, to there all the time. It's only when very minimal driving involved. So that's why I like hospital work. And so social worker, you know, there are different types of social work as well. There is no opportunities as such for overtime. Yeah, there's overtime every now and then, maybe very minimally, but it's not as common as you would have in nursing. Yeah. Social workers tend to make a little bit more on qualifying than the nurse at the start, but the nurse has the chance to make more in the sense that they can work extra shift. But if they were both to stick at doing 37.5 hours, the social worker makes a little bit more on qualifying than the nurse. What else do I need to say? So pros of social work will be flexible working. So as a nurse, obviously you cannot work from home as a nurse, whereas as a social worker you can work from home. Sometimes you can blend between home and work, and we've had that since COVID. So that's one of the blessings that came with COVID. And what other so social work, I would say, has less risk. It's not like you don't have risk as well, because if you are supposed to intervene in somebody's life and you don't do the intervention and it costs the person their lives, you could be in trouble as well. So if you have services that you should have provided and you did not provide it, or you leave somebody who is in danger in an environment that they shouldn't be in, you can get into trouble. But the chances of that happening is a little bit lower. It's a lot lower. I won't say a little bit, a lot lower than the nurse, because social work, mostly we work as a team. So the tendency of somebody picking up that error, if he kind of slides past you, unlike a nurse that will just pop a medication and boom into the patient's mouth. Social work, you have a team of people. You will mainly work within MDT. So the tendency that somebody will pick up that error is always high. It's always high. Have I made mistakes too? Oh, yes, I have. But I work within a very fantastic team that, you know, I'm confident in my team that sometimes when things slip by me, which is normal for human beings, somebody else picks it up and then they call my attention to it. Have you thought about this? So you have a whole team working together on one patient. So if you miss it, the whole team might pick it. If the whole team misses it, the nurse might pick it. So there's always that blessing with social work, in my opinion, because I work in a hospital. And in the community too, you have your line managers who follow the case with you sometimes. You can always go to them to ask them, oh, this is where I'm stuck with that. What should I do? What should I do? And they tell you, okay, try this, try this. And the common sense is, if your case starts becoming too complex, you can always ask your manager to jump in with you, and then you brainstorm together. So that's why I find social work quite interesting. Because let me give you some of the cons of social work. Like I said, social work is paperwork. Be ready to write too. You go write from now to eternity. A lot of paperwork. And then social work, you will sit down a lot in front of the screen. So the risk of obesity, the risk of blood sugar, high blood sugar, which is diabetes, the risk of even your arteries, is it clogged arteries? Blood clots, yeah. The risk of blood clots, you are not being active, you are sitting down for long period of time. So what I tend to do is to make conscious effort. I'm not doing that as such because, I'm lazy these days, but in the past, and I will start doing that again, is to make conscious effort to stand up and move around like every hour, move my legs, walk around, get my circulation going, because we sit down a lot. And another con will be having to be at loggerheads with family members all the time, because like in the UK, resources are fast draining out. What do I mean by resources? The money that they put towards supporting people to maybe stay in care homes or to provide services for people, those things are fast cutting off. Like things that they put in place during COVID, they are starting to cut them, to reduce them. So if you say, oh, this one will say, oh, I need to get this, I'm eligible for this, but then the government is saying, we're sorry, we can't fund that anymore. So you have to keep proving to explain to the family, oh, we can't provide this anymore. They look at you. Sometimes they look at you like you are the one who is preventing them from getting it. So all the anger and the frustration, they will channel it at you. And social worker is the link between everybody else. So the nurse is looking to the social worker for solution. The doctor is thinking the social worker has a solution. The OT is thinking social worker has a solution. Family members are thinking social worker has a solution. So sometimes the heat gets too much. That gives you that brain freeze, that you just begin to wonder what the hell is going on, So it gets too much. The heat gets too much on the social worker. I've seen cases where they want me to assume the role of everybody. The family members are asking me, oh, where is my this? When is my physio appointment? When am I going to get my therapist appointment? I'm not a physio. I'm not a therapist. You can't ask me that, I'm not a doctor. I can't be a doctor, be a nurse, be. So that's sometimes they think social worker is all those things. That you should be knowledgeable about the doctor role. You should be knowledgeable about the nurse, about the physio, about the OT, about the SALT team. Everything you have to know. No, I don't know everything. You need to go and ask the doctor the doctor's job. So I keep finding that I have to do that all the time, and it can be frustrating. So those are the kind of things. So there are social things, engagement with people, talking to people. So if you are not that person who likes to talk, who likes to engage, then social work might not be for you. But mind you, you need that skill as well as a nurse, because you have to be talking to your patients, you talk to the doctors, you talk to the nurses, other nurses, so that social skill as well, you have to have that as a nurse. You might not be talking so much as a nurse, but you still need that social skill to interrelate with others. So it's funny that a lot of Nigerians don't know that social work too can give you COS. And that's where I'm coming to. People come to do nursing. And believe you me, nowadays, the nursing jobs are reducing fast, because it's not just from Nigeria they are bringing in nurses. They are bringing nurses from other parts of the world. So the roles available now, they are not much. People even here now are struggling to find jobs. People should think social work, especially if you are going into children's social work. There's a lot of vacancies. I have friends who came from Nigeria when I was studying to do social work, and they qualified as children's social workers, because that's where they really need people, and they give people COS. So today they are nearly counting their 5 years. They will soon be transitioning into indefinite leave to remain. So that's one option that people should look at as well, because that aspect is really short-staffed, that I'm sure that if you graduate, you will find a job. As opposed to nursing. Nursing now is getting really full really quickly. No jobs available as before. So I've ranted today, and I hope that I've touched on all the areas that I need to touch on. If I remember anything down the line I've not said, maybe I'll just drop it in another video. But keep looking out for my videos, you might gain one or two things from here. So if you are looking to relocate, think social work. Think social work, guys. Social work is not as bad as people think it is. If you have flair for writing, you like talking, you like helping people, supporting people, then social work is for you. So thank you so much for watching this morning. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will catch you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.